All. Welcome to Shubha Bhattacharya Japa session, and let's start with short Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, verse number 28. अलब्धातृणा भूम्या आदि असंप्राप्ताज्ञ सुनर्ता अवज्ञात्मम् इव आत्मानं मन्यमानस्य चुकोपः. Word to word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Word to word meaning, alabdha, having not received, thrina, seat of straw, bhumi, place, adihi, and so on, asamprapthya, not properly received, agriyaya, water for reception, sunrata, sweet words, avagnya. Hare Krishna Prabhu, was I audible?
No, Mataji, now you are audible.
Okay. Yeah, audible, Mataji. You can go ahead, audible.
Okay, Prabhuji. Share my screen. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, verse number 28. Alabdha trina bhumya adir asampraptargyah sunarta avagnatma iva atmanam manyamanas chukopich. Word to word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Word to word meaning, alabdha, having not received, trina, seat of straw, bhumi, place, adihi, and so on, asampraptha, not properly received, agryaha, water for reception, sunhartha, sweet words, avagnatam, thus being neglected, eva like that, atmanam, personally, manyamana, thinking like that, chukhopa, became angry, her in that way. Translation: the king, not received by any formal welcome by means of being offered a seat, place, water, and sweet addresses, considered himself neglected, and so thinking he became angry. Purport is a little big. Maybe I can try and read and explain. Purport: the law of reception, the codes of Vedic principles, states that even if an enemy is received at home, he must be received with all respects. He should not be given a chance to understand that he has come into house of an enemy. When Lord Krishna, accompanied by Arjuna and Bhima, approached Jarasandha in Magadha, The respectful enemies were given a royal reception by King Jarasandha. The guest enemy, namely Bhima, was to fight with Jarasandha, and yet they were given a grand reception. At night, they used to sit down together as friends and guests, and in the day, they used to fight, risking life and death. That was the law of reception. The reception law enjoins the poor man that a poor man who has nothing to offer his guest should be good enough to offer a straw mat or for sitting, a glass of water and drinking for drinking, and some sweet words. Therefore, to receive a guest, either friend or foe, there is no expense. It is only question of good manners. So, in the first paragraph, we can see how Srila Prabhupada has mentioned about what is the etiquette of receiving a guest. So what is the etiquette of having how a person must be received when anybody is coming to a householder's house or to a place of grihastha, how he must be welcomed. So here, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that one can offer a seat to sit and a glass of water and some sweet words. So, reception of the guest can be made depending upon their physical and financial ability. So, here in the case of Parikshit Maharaj, we have been seeing in all the previous verses how Parikshit Maharaj has come into the arena or to the place where Samika Rishi is being placed, and Samika Rishi is in on a transcendental platform, and he is he's in full transcendental platform and he's meditating. So maybe I can finish the purport completely and then we can discuss. When Maharaj Parikshit entered the door of Samika Rishi, he did not expect a royal reception by the Rishi because he knew the saints and rishis are not materially rich men, but he never expected that a seat of a glass of water, and some sweet words would be denied to him. He was not an ordinary guest, nor he was an enemy of the Rishi, and therefore, the cold reception by the Rishi astonished the king greatly. As a matter of fact, the king was right to get angry with the Rishi when he needed a glass of water very badly. To become angry in such a grave situation was not unnatural for the king, but because the king himself was not less than a great saint, his becoming angry and taking action was very astonishing. So it must be accepted that it was ordained by the supreme will of the Lord. The king was a great devotee of the Lord, and the saint was also as good as the king. But by the will of the Lord, the circumstances were so created that became ways to kings becoming unattached to family connection and governmental activities, and thus becoming a completely surrendered soul unto the lotus feet of Krishna. The merciful Lord sometimes creates such awkward positions for his pure devotees in order to drag them towards himself from the mere of material existence. But outwardly, the situation appeared to be frustrating to the devotees. The devotees of the Lord are always under the protection of the Lord, and in any condition, frustration or success, the Lord is the supreme guide for devotees. The pure devotees therefore accept all conditions of frustration as blessings from the Lord. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपथकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेव Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganara Shri Vishakhan Vithamscha He Krishna Purana Sindhurina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kantanam Mostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So we have been seeing in the couple of verses, the previous verses, how Parikshit Maharaj has entered the arena of Semika Rishi, and we can see that the Rishi was, meditating, and he was on a transcendental platform, and he couldn't recognize, or he did not notice that Maharaj Parikshit had appeared near his place, and he couldn't make a proper reception. So in today's purport, Srila Prabhupada has given an elaborated explanation as to how a person, whoever is coming to one's place, whether he's a friend or a foe or an enemy, how he must be received. So Srila Prabhupada has given various ways as to how a guest has to be received, even though he is an enemy. So a particular person who is coming to somebody's place, they can be received depending upon whatever is their physical and financial capability. So one does not have to be on a higher end, does not have to be very rich and physically fit, and only then a proper reception can be made. So that is not a criteria or a condition for reception. So with here in the purport, we can see Srila Prabhupada is telling that one does not have to do a very grand reception going on beyond their capacity. So if somebody is coming, if somebody is visiting one's place, then that person, whoever is visiting, they have to be given a proper place to sit, and a glass of water, and some sweet words. So these are some of the basic things a person can offer to anybody who is visiting his place. And we also can see that physical or financial capability is not a constraint for receiving somebody, right? So we can see in case of Bhishma Dev, how Bhishma Dev was on a bed of arrows in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He was sleeping on the bed of arrows, and how well he received the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he came to see Bhishma Dev. So, just by his glance, just through his words, by glorifying the Supreme Lord, even though Bhishma Dev was not in a very conducive situation, or he was not in a very peaceful, very nice and pleasurable place, but he was on a bed of arrows, and he was going through such physical pain. And in spite of that, when the Supreme Lord came, just through his eyes, the Bhishma Dev received. So we have seen how Bhishma Dev had received Krishna in the previous chapters. So with his sweet words, he glorified the Supreme Lord, and just with his eye glances, he was receiving the Supreme Lord. So what can we understand from this is that physical inability is not a constraint to receive a guest to one's place. And we can also see in case of Vidura, right? In case of Vidura, we can see how Vidura's wife, when when Krishna visited their place, they were so excited, they were so happy to receive the Supreme Lord. So we have heard that when the Supreme Lord came, Vidura's wife was so happy that they didn't arrange a very big feast like how the party of Duryodhana had done it. They didn't have all the exalted dishes or anything of that sort. But when Vidura, with what Vidura had done, he had the basic of the basic things like fruits and some basic dishes prepared. And when Vidura's wife saw that the Supreme Lord was coming, she was so excited that she offered banana, and she was trying to peel it and give it to Krishna. In that excitement of receiving the Supreme Lord, she threw the banana and she gave the peel. But her intention of receiving, her action of receiving Krishna was so great that Krishna accepted even the banana peel. So even though Vidura was not on such a financial end to receive Krishna, he was not he was not financially that strong or that great, but in spite of that they received Krishna with their full heart. So having financial incapability does not become a constraint for not receiving a person. So that is what Srila Prabhupada is also explaining here in the purport, that when Bhima went to fight with Jarasandha, even though Jarasandha knew that Bhima has come to fight with him, in spite of that, whatever is the basic necessity of receiving a particular visitor at a place, all that was done by Jarasandha. So here Srila Prabhupada mentions that at the night they used to sit together and talk with each other, and when it was the time for fighting, they were fighting on the battlefield, but that never used to get carried on. Mm. Bhima was treated as like any other guest by Jarasandha. Jarasandha never viewed Bhima as his enemy. So I was hearing to a lecture, and it was mentioned that even why is it said that even an enemy has to be received with such great respect, is because when an enemy is treated with such due respect and such treatment, such nice treatment is being given, then that person whom we are considering as enemy, he forgets all this rivalry and he will come back to the position of being a very nice friend, even though there may be some clashes or some rivalry going on. When a person is received with due respect, then in that case all the rival thoughts will be destroyed, and he will come back on a platform of establishing a friendship with the same person. So that is why reception becomes very important. So the Supreme Lord, various places he has shown how a person has to be received. So we can see in case of Sudama, right? Sudama was a very best friend of the Supreme Lord, and how the Lord received him when Sudama came. The Supreme Lord, he came out of his palace to his main gate, and from there he took on the reception of Sudama. So he personally came to pick up Sudama from the palace gate, and after that he offered a seat to Sudama in his own private room. He offered a seat to Sudama, and he made Sudama sit and made sure he's comfortable. And after that, he washed the feet of Sudama and he offered some flowers. And in this way, Lord received Sudama. And not only that, when Sudama came to visit Krishna, Krishna's wife Rukmini at Dwarka, she ordered her maidservants to cook all the sorts of variety delicious dishes so that it can be honored by Sudama. So it is said that it is the responsibility of the Grihini to support the Grihastha in the house to serve the visitors nicely. So it is the responsibility of the Grihini in the house to cook nice, delicious prasadam for the visitors and to serve them well. So that is what Rukmini is also setting up an example with the Supreme Lord, that she ordered the maid servants to cook all the delicious variety dishes so that Sudama could, honor it. So in various places, even in when Pandavas had, built a very huge palace. Even that time, the Krishna took this service of, receiving all the guests, the reception of the guests. He used to welcome each and every guest individually, and used to wash their feet and sprinkle the water on his head. So he's on the level. We can understand what is the level of the Supreme Lord. He is the person who has created all the living beings, and in spite of that, with such humble nature, the Lord is receiving all these the Lord is receiving all of these visitors, and he is washing their feet, and he's not only washing that, but he's also sprinkling the water on his head. So in that way, reception has to be done in such a way that the enemy also forgets the enmity, and he comes back to having a very good relationship. So if you see this is how in the first para of the purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning about how reception should happen. And if you see here in case of Maharaj Parikshit, how Maharaj Parikshit, when Maharaj Parikshit entered Shamika Rishi, he was meditating. So he did not notice that Maharaj Parikshit had come. But Maharaj Parikshit, he was also not an ordinary person, because if you see Maharaj Parikshit, he had tolerated the heat of the Brahmastra in the womb of Uttara. So when he could tolerate that, tolerating hunger and thirst was not a very great thing for Maharaj Parikshit, right? So Maharaj Parikshit, he tolerated hunger and thirst. We can see that for those 7 days, Maharaj Parikshit was on Nirjal fasting. He was only Shravanam was happening. He was hearing the Krishna Katha, and he was on fasting for all those days. He did not even take water. So for such a personality, controlling thirst for that minute was not a great thing. So that is what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning. If somebody is not received in a proper manner, then it is natural for that person to get angry. It is natural for that person to get upset. But the question here is that Maharaj Parikshit is getting angry, and that is what is very astonishing. Why is Maharaj Parikshit getting angry here? That is something very astonishing, because he is not an ordinary person. He is a Raja Rishi. He is a king, but on a platform of a Rishi. Right? So when Maharaj Parikshit is getting angry here, it is a very unnatural phenomenon. Right? Because if you see the lineage of Maharaj Parikshit, he is not a person who will get angry on such a small thing. Right? So that is why it is very astonishing, because somebody on a platform, such a pure platform as Maharaj Parikshit is, somebody on that level is getting angry, and that is why it is getting astonishing. So if you see here the translation, why did Maharaj Parikshit get angry? Because here in the last line of the purport, in the last line of the shloka, it is given that manyamanas chukopaha. So why did he get angry? Because he was thinking like that, he became angry. Thinking what he became angry is that he thought that Maharaj Parikshit thought that Shamika Rishi is not respecting him. He just thought that he was not. If so, mind is a machine of producing thoughts. It will just create a meaning to a particular situation. So, what is the actual fact? Actual fact is that Shamika Rishi did not disrespect him. The actual fact is that Shamika Rishi was meditating. But what does the mind think? The mind of Parikshit Maharaj automatically thought that he is being disrespected. but he did not see the other face of the coin. That was actually not the thing. So we can see that just by thinking, just by speculating, just by in this case, Maharaj Parikshit just thought the actual situation is something else. The mind has thought a different situation, and therefore it has resulted in a disrespecting way. So actually, disrespect has not happened. Maharaj Parikshit has not been disrespected. Just because his mind has generated these thoughts, so Maharaj Parikshit is felt disrespected. So it was a similar case in case of Daksha and Shiva. So Shiva was meditating on the holy name of the Lord. He was on full transcendental platform. But when Daksha came, everybody in the sabha stood up. Everybody who was present there, they all stood up, but except Lord Shiva. Right? And Daksha did not see that the Lord Shiva is meditating on the holy name of the Lord. But what did he think? He thought that Lord Shiva is disrespecting me and he's not giving me respect. And that was just this thought. Just because Daksha thought like this, it created the entire situation of, Sati giving herself up in the fire. And we all know what happened thereafter. But actually, what was the situation? Shiva did not have the intention of disrespecting Daksha. He was meditating on the Supreme Lord. But Daksha thought that it was a disrespect. So that is why it led to the entire scenario of whatever later happened. So it was just that Manya Manaha, just because of thinking like that. Even Durvasa Muni, when Amrish Maharaj broke the fast, even Durvasa Muni, he thought that, he's disrespecting me without my permission. How can he break the fast on a Dwadashi day? So thinking like that, what happened? Durvasa Muni got angry, and we all know how he created a fire demon to kill Amrish Maharaj. So that disrespecting, it is just because of the thoughts that are generated in the mind of a particular person. And even here, it is a misunderstanding that has been created in case of Maharaj Parikshit and Shamika Rishi. So, because of that misunderstanding, the entire scenario happened. So, before coming into conclusion, what should we do? We should also think. So, it is always, there is a thing in English. So, every coin has two faces. So, we have to look at both the faces and understand the situation and then come to a conclusion. So that is so here we can view the situation of Maharaj Parikshit on two we can conclude it on two, we can come up to two conclusions. So one is that everything that happened was the will of the Supreme Lord. But on the other hand, we as devotees, what can we look at it? How can we look at it? And what lessons can we take back home? So for us, since we are sadhana bhaktas, we have to see how we have to not make the same mistake that Maharaj Parikshit made. We have to analyze the situation, understand it, and then come on to a conclusion as to what has happened. So that is one phase of understanding. And in the end of the purport, Srila Prabhupada tells all this that has happened, that Shamika Rishi was meditating, Maharaj Parikshit was thirsty. To quench his thirst, he came asking for a glass of water, and then he was not received properly. And because of that, he took a dead snake and he put it around the neck of Shamika Rishi. And seeing this, Shringi cursed Shamika Rishi. So all this is the plan of the Supreme Lord. It is the will of the Supreme Lord. So it has been plotted by the Supreme Lord to get out Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you see, Parikshit Maharaj is not a person, he's not a very weak person. He's from the lineage of Pandavas. his grandfather was Arjuna. So if you see, Arjuna was not a weak person, right? He was but he started lamenting. So that was the will of the Supreme Lord to create such a situation. He he made Arjuna emotionally weak. He placed the chariot in such a way that he could see all his dear ones, so all the emotions can come out, and because of that Arjuna will tell that I will not fight, and Supreme Lord will get an opportunity to give out Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So even in case of Maharaj Parikshit, it was the same thing. Maharaj Parikshit tolerated hunger and thirst for 7 continuous days and night. So if such a person who can tolerate hunger and thirst for 7 days, tolerating thirst for that minute was not a great thing, right? So if you see on that platform, it was the plan of the Supreme Lord so that we can get the fruit of Srimad Bhagavatam and we can relish it. So it was all the will and planning of the Supreme Lord. So outwardly we may feel that, oh, why did Krishna do this? Even though if somebody may think Krishna went and protected Parikshit Maharaj from Brahmastra inside the womb of Uttara, and the same Krishna is creating such a situation wherein Maharaj Parikshit is being cursed, and he's cursed to die in 7 days. So if somebody sees it on an outward situation, he may feel that, oh, Krishna, why is he doing such a thing? But if you go deeper into it, Krishna is trying to benefit all of us by giving Srimad Bhagavatam, by holding Maharaj Parikshit as an instrument. So Srila Gurudev tells that Krishna keeps his pure devotees in the front and he gives out the lessons to the general public. So it happened, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Guru Maharaj gave this example. So Guru Maharaj was telling, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he kept Chota Haridas Thakur in front. Chota Haridas Thakur, he was in personal association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There was no way for Chota Haridas Thakur to fall down. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu created such a situation. Why did he do it? Guru Maharaj told that he created such a situation to show to the general public how a sannyasi should deal with a Mataji, with women. Okay, so once a person has taken sannyas diksha, there are certain etiquette he has to follow, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was trying to show the same thing by keeping Chota Haridas Thakur in front. So even in case of Maharaj Parikshit, it is the same, that Maharaj Parikshit is being kept in forward, and the Supreme Lord is trying to show how his pure devotee is becoming an instrument in his entire play. And Srimad Bhagavatam is about, because of Maharaj Parikshit, the 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam is going to get revealed. So these were some of the points from today's verse. So thank you so much for your patient hearing. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, पतित पावन गुरु महाराज की जय।